In 1973, I was working with the National Association of Progressive Radio Announcers, a rock announcers trade association that I had helped found, and its related Progressive Broadcasting Foundation, of which I was president. We were doing public service announcements against hard drugs to be put on an album of spots and distributed to radio stations around the country. One of the most interesting ones was the Star Trek spot. We received permission from Paramount, which owned the Star Trek rights by that time. They were preparing an animated series for television of Star Trek, so we were referred to the various actors on Star Trek. So my associate Jerry Longden and I met with Nichelle Nichols, Lieutenant Uhura, of Star Trek, and recorded her part. I wrote the script, and then we met with William Shatner. Mr. Shatner was at that time was known to be very difficult to work with, and he had a cold that day, so he was not in a good mood. And we had another spot we wanted him to record, in which he called for a boycott on drugs, and he said, "What is this? What is this? A boycott?" And we said, never mind, just please do the Star Trek spot. So he voiced that, and one of our other associates, I'm not sure who recorded Mr. Spock, Leonard Nimoy. Then Jerry Longden edited it all together. He did a masterful job. He used the voice recordings and the bridge sounds and the communicator, which we'd gotten from sound that we'd gotten from Paramount, and electronic music from an album by a man named Nick Reswick. After the album came out, I was on an elevator in Hollywood on my way up to see Paul Williams, the singer-songwriter, and I looked around and there was Leonard Nimoy. He had not heard the spot, so I gave him the only copy I had with me of the album with his spot on it. Later on, in the last few years, someone put pictures to the spot and made a little YouTube film out of it, and here it is.
Log of the Starship Enterprise, stardate 5943.7.
Captain Kirk, this is Lieutenant Uhura. Mr. Spock is ready to patch in. Go ahead, Mr. Spock.
I'm on the surface of the destroyed barbarian planet now, Captain.
Destroyed? What do you see, Mr. Spock?
The surviving inhabitants are in a dreadful condition. It seems they can't control their limbs, and their minds are dull and useless. Fascinating. They seem to be in a state identical to that curious 20th century Earth disease called hard drug abuse. I suspect it has destroyed all meaningful life on this wretched planet.
A tragic find, Mr. Spock.
As a Vulcan, I find the need for hard drugs to be totally illogical.
But as a half-human Spock, surely you can appreciate the suffering that hard drug abuse causes. We can only hope that other civilizations will not make the same mistake.